guys, I just want to double check. Can you all see and hear me? Have you heard anything I've said for the past 7 minutes? Just let me know. Let me know if you can see and hear me. Let me know how long you've been able to see and hear me for, because we might have had a bit of an issue. So according to YouTube, I have been live for 20 seconds. But actually, I've been live and streaming for about 7 minutes now. So I started the show, I was talking to you, I was talking about the match, I was reading your comments. Oh dear, guys. Do you know what made me realise? My computer told me I wasn't, so my screen over here said I was live, but then I looked at my computer over here and it said I wasn't live, and I was like, that's really odd. Why is that not working? So then I checked it on my phone, which also said I wasn't live. And I was like, oh no, how has this happened? Well, guys, just so you know, I'm not super duper really late. I've been here since about 2 minutes past 3, talking to you all. I've been reading your chats. I've been chatting to you. So, here we are. Welcome back to Spill the Tea, Lou! Woohoo! We have had, I don't think we have had gremlins in the system. I think we have had a brain fart from me, because when it goes through OBS, I have to click start stream on OBS, and then I have to click go live on YouTube, and there's a strong possibility that I maybe didn't click the go live bit on YouTube. Well, I did click it, but it didn't click, if you get my meaning. So there's a possibility it's my fault. We're going to blame YouTube, but there is a possibility it's my fault. But I'm going to start the show all over again. So, hello to everybody. I said hello to the very lovely T Titan Huge, who said he is very happy that he can be here early, and he was in fact here earlier than me. So even though I have been live for a little while before I actually was live, Huge was here even before that, as was the very lovely Rob. I hope you are also having a nice weekend. Huge says it's crazy that Liverpool didn't buy Guehi, and he goes on to beat Liverpool 5 times this season. They should have bought him just to stop him playing against them. Lucky, lovely Lucky is in the house and says, oh my dear, City have hammered Liverpool. Rob, Always United, is saying it's a shame about Liverpool, and obviously, as a United fan, he's very sincere in his sympathies for Liverpool Football Club. Those laughing faces at the end, surely we shouldn't read too much into those. The very lovely Shem is in the house saying, hey everyone, hope you're all doing good today. On Doggy Patrol again, so listening as always. I got my very own special greeting from Shem, which says, afternoon lovely boss lady Lou, hope you're happy, healthy and smiling today. Teacup Cult is the only cult, one of us. It is the gift that keeps on giving. The joke, it just keeps going. I love it. It's the never-ending joke, like the never-ending story, but better. Lovely Mama Flossie is in the house. Dr. Tottenham Therapy is in the house. Big up to me, big up to the chat. Everybody's saying hi. Yes, and the cult gathers. Guys, that's actually incredible that none of you have heard any of this. The very lovely Jenny is in the house. Welcome to our Jenny. Do I use StreamYard? No. So, sometimes I use OBS, sometimes I use StreamYard. It's not, I use it every single day. I know how to work it. I just didn't click the button properly. That's all. There's like a big giant button that says go live, and I thought I clicked it and very clearly just didn't. I missed the button, clicked, didn't look, started talking, was reading the chat, and it was only when I looked up at the screen I was like, why is it not doing what it's supposed to do? And then it struck me. So it was me. It was just me clicking in the wrong spot. But I want to start by saying, to be fair to Liverpool, and I'm going to give them, because obviously I hate both of these teams, so it makes no difference to me. I can just say what I want. To be fair to Liverpool, because it's probably the nicest thing we're going to say about them all stream, they did start off really well. So for the first 15 minutes, 12 to 15 minutes, I do think Liverpool were the better team. They started fast, they started strong, they started confident, they were attacking. It was all going really, really well. And I thought, do you know what? I was right. Do you remember when I said to Kai, I think maybe Liverpool can do this, you know? Maybe Liverpool can beat Manchester City. And everybody else was like, Lou, I don't think so. I do believe this is going to be Manchester City's game. And I was like, no, I think maybe Liverpool can do something. You know, maybe Salah announcing that he's leaving. It might give them a push. And, you know, international break, they've had some rest. And I was really talking myself into it. And then the first 15 minutes of the match, I was like, see, I'm so clever. I know things. I knew Liverpool were going to come into this match and really try very, very hard. And then everything after 15 minutes happened. At which point I did have to admit that I was potentially very, very wrong, because 4-0 is not a phenomenal scoreline. In fact, it's a really bad scoreline. A Haaland hat-trick, no less. And I think the last time he scored more than one goal in a match was like December or something, and even then it was only 2. So a Haaland hat-trick doesn't start your weekend right. And see, I think this is so hard for Liverpool fans. See, when you've waited 2 weeks, international break, you've been waiting for football, you want football back, football's back, and you're like, oh, does it have to be back? Because your team do that. Guess has distracted me talking about tarts. Guess has said, back with tea and the tarts are out of the oven. What did I miss? She is going to be listening, but she's also kind of watching the Madrid game, and I suppose we can allow that. But yes, so like I said, I thought the first kind of 15 minutes or so, I thought Liverpool were actually far and away the better team. And I think Manchester City were a little bit sort of taken aback. Like, who is this Liverpool? What is this? This is not Liverpool of this season. And then, bit by bit, City sort of started to get their foothold into the match. For me, the first penalty shout should have been a penalty. I think they really got away with one there. They really, really got away with one there. For me, the first one definitely should have been a penalty. We've seen them given all season. We've seen ones far softer than that given all season. For me, that was 100% a penalty. But let's just do a poll, because I didn't do a poll before we started the stream today. So let's just do a poll. And this is not the one that was given. This was the shout on Turkey, the one before. So I want to start a poll, and it's just a quick snapshot of what you guys think. Was the pen shout for... that's not the right way to word it. That I can't spell, I can't talk, I can't go live. Lads, football is back and I've lost the run of myself. Should Turkey have gotten a penalty? And we'll just go with yes or no, because I don't think I'm capable of anything more complicated than that right now. Okay, guys, I have put the poll in the chat. Do please remember to smash the like button on the video, and then also get your votes in on the poll. I'm very interested. I'm not here to change anyone's mind. You're not here to change my mind. I'm just curious to see where people land on it. So for me, like I said, definite penalty. Should have been given. And I think there was as much, if not more, contact in the first instance as the second instance. For me, we've seen ones like that and then softer all season. Yes, I'm talking about the Kirkes one, Sachin. How did I know you would have something to say? Flossie's going to abstain because she didn't see it, which is fair enough, because if you didn't see it, it's hard to have an opinion. Sachin also says, oh dear, that Liverpool performance today was dreadful. It was after the first 15 minutes, yes. But so, as I said, as far as I'm concerned, that was a clear penalty. I was very surprised it wasn't given, and I've seen several Liverpool fans also say they feel that they've gotten away with one there, that they thought it would be a penalty. But, like I said, get your votes in, guys. It's not really about changing each other's minds. If you think it wasn't, or you think it was, that's fair enough. I'm just curious to see kind of, as I said, where people fall on that one. Obviously, they did then get a penalty in the end anyway. But really, for me, the kind of around that first shout would be kind of when the tide started to turn. Because after that, then it was kind of City possession, City attack, City corners. That was when it really started to turn. And then you get the second shout for the penalty, the one where Virgil van Dijk basically stands on the City player's foot. And actually what I found interesting, and the commentator noted this, so I'm not pretending it's my original thought. The commentator said it, and I thought it was actually a really interesting talking point. Michael Oliver waited, before he called for a penalty, he waited to see if City had scored. He didn't just shout for the penalty straight away. And I would reckon that's obviously to do with the decisions earlier in the season where the ball goes in the back of the net and then the goal is cancelled out to pull it back for a penalty, which, do you know what I mean? And there was a whole big hullabaloo about that. So you could see Michael Oliver wait and be like, I need to see if this is going to be a goal. And only when he saw it wasn't going to be a goal, then he called for the penalty. I thought that was really interesting because they've actually learned from that. They obviously went away and said, right, this is a bad look. Whether the rule is correct or not, it's a bad look. So how do we avoid this happening again in the future? They've clearly spoken about it and we saw it in action today. So I thought that was very, very, very interesting. Obviously Haaland makes a 1-0, then Haaland makes a 2-0. Liverpool's whole defence was just really, really bad. Really, really, really bad today. I thought Van Dijk was terrible. I thought Konate wasn't particularly good. I didn't think Kerkez was... I actually thought Kerkez was really bad, to be honest with you. Their midfield just didn't seem to exist. Because do you see, once City started playing, they were in this half and then they were in this half. And they didn't seem to be like on the receiving end of many tackles. There was nobody trying to turn over the ball. They were just there, and then they were just able to run freely with the ball. They had kind of the run of the pitch, and Liverpool just didn't seem to be challenging them even for possession. I thought it was like really just really poor performance all round from Liverpool. So they go in then at half time, but for me at that point I'm like, after the first 15 minutes Liverpool literally just fell apart. And you can see Slot was getting so frustrated. Like his wee head was getting all red shouting. And you could see how angry he was, how frustrated he was. But the players just looked just non-existent. I've actually genuinely not seen like such a clear case of that in a while. Maybe it's just because football has been gone for a few weeks, but it just felt really, really poor. I thought Liverpool would test them. I did. I really thought they would try. I thought they would, even if City were going to win, that Liverpool would make it difficult. You've just like had this break. You've had this massive announcement that one of your key players is going to be going. And I know with a comment the other day saying, look, they probably knew behind the scenes. I think it does change things when it's said out loud and it's real and everybody else knows. But even Salah today, Salah had a really good chance in the first half he didn't take. He had a really good chance in the second half he didn't take. And then he misses the penalty. And before the penalty, you could see... I think you can often tell when a player's not going to take a good penalty. And I think a lot of people say this. When you're watching them, you can see. Like, he looked really emotional. He really looked on the verge of tears. He looked really emotional. He looked like it was kind of in his head. He was in his own head. And it was just a really bad penalty. And he looked like it was... it wasn't good. It really wasn't good at all. Let me see. Sachin is saying it would have been unfair to call a penalty, but fair, much worse calls have been given this season. Dibs is here, just popping in to give my like. Everyone else also hit the like button. Got the kids, so I will watch on the rewind later. Big up to Lou and the chat for the greater good. Sachin says Liverpool did not even test Trafford before the penalty, to be honest. And when he was tested, when he did have to make saves, then he made good ones. Do you know, like even the save of the penalty, sometimes the keeper psychs themselves out, especially if they're not the first team keeper, and he did what he was supposed to do. So yeah, let me see. Harold, can you hear me now? Yes, okay, you're back with us. You can hear me now. Rob is saying Salah had a monumental stinker. He did. He just looked really emotional. He looked really emotional and really in his own head. I think he's having a difficult time. I think he's really having a difficult time. I do wonder why Ekitike was taken off and he was left on. I know you don't want to, he misses the penalty and then you take him off because the optics of it. But also, he was struggling. Forget the penalty. He was struggling in the match. He was struggling to play. He was clearly struggling with his emotions. I don't understand why Ekitike was the one that was taken off for Rio, to be honest with you. I understand the optics of taking Salah off after missing the penalty because of caused another storm and they probably don't want that. But I do think really like he should have been the one subbed off based on performance. Excuse me, let me just put this on mute. Lads, you'd swear I'd never done a live stream before because honestly, all the things that could go wrong today have in fact gone wrong. But here we are. We're still going. Sachin says, Virgil van Dijk was arguably the worst player on the pitch today in my opinion. So many mistakes and aura defending. Blossy says, I feel so sorry for Salah. He gets blamed for everything. People forget there's a whole team there, not just one man. And that's the thing. The whole team today were dreadful. The whole lot of them. Huge says, I haven't seen it more than once, but I believe Kirkez got the first touch and then got him on the second touch, but I count that as one action. Fair enough. Sachin says, the subs were them saving is an inverted comma, to be fair, saving players for PSG, but we probably all know that they're going to get battered in Paris. I have to say, having seen what Manchester City are after doing to them, I think they get demolished by PSG. I thought they might have had a chance because I thought, well, PSG, to be honest, they weren't overly convincing against Chelsea other than Chelsea being terrible. And then kind of obviously by the second leg it was pretty convincing, but I mean overall I didn't think they were incredible, but having seen that today, they've absolutely no chance. PSG are just going to absolutely smush them. Harold said, I'm having a bloody marvellous day and we aren't even playing. To be fair, Harold, that might be part of the reason you're having a marvellous day, is the team haven't been playing to let you down and ruin it, to be fair. That might be actually why it's so good. Football is back, but we're not losing. What more could you want out of a weekend? Rob also feels sorry for Salah. But guys, Liverpool were woeful, okay? They were really, really, really bad. After the first 15 minutes, they fell apart. Their defenders were terrible, really terrible. And I genuinely don't believe their midfield existed because Manchester City were just running the ball up the pitch and there was nothing in their way. It actually felt like there was nobody in the midfield for Liverpool. So really terrible. And then you have Salah missing chances from open play and missing penalties. It's very hard. Like, Ekitike was okay. But in general, I think as a team, they were dreadful. Really, really, really bad just as a team. Now, let me end the poll. So, on the poll, should Turkey have gotten a penalty? 33% of people say yes, 67% say no. Okay, so you guys are going with no. I did think yes when I watched it, but I'll rewatch it again, what you're saying there, Huge, in terms of the touch. And Sachin said the same thing about the touch. For me, we've seen softer ones than that given, but I'll go and I'll have a look at the touch. Oh, as I'm looking at it, it's changed. It's changed as I'm looking at it. It's gone 43% for yes, 57% to no. So a bit closer, but no does still win. And obviously I haven't voted in that because that skews the whole poll. So I'll end that, but it's just an interesting one. Interesting. Harold has said, I've always said I never want even Liverpool to have their own Eric Ten Hag. Wow, I can't believe how wrong I was. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. But not only was it a terrible match by Liverpool, it was a really, really, really good match from Manchester City. So it wasn't a case of Manchester City got it over the line because Liverpool were terrible, kept giving them chances. Manchester City were really good. It's probably the best we've seen them in 2 seasons. They were really, really good today. As I said, I think the last time Haaland scored more than 1 goal in a match, I think was December, because I was reading it before the match. I think it was December. And he obviously got a hat-trick today. I thought Semenyo was really good today, really involved. And I thought Ryan Cherky was really fantastic. I think Ryan Cherky has been really good for them all season. I think he's been really, really, really important in all the matches that he plays. He's very involved in all aspects of the play. I think he's a really, really, really good player. But between Cherky and Semenyo today, the two of them were playing tip-top form. Haaland obviously was actually hitting the back of the net. It just all came together. And I kind of just... We often say, or we hear people say about City, you know, they click into gear in the second half of the season, they kind of take it easy at the start, and then in the second half of the season, they run away with themselves, they run away with the matches, they go on these mad long winning streaks. That obviously hasn't happened this season. They're all but out of a title race, really, unless they can beat Arsenal and claw back at 3 points. But it does feel like now, way later than they normally do, they've finally clicked into gear. And now we don't know that this is a one-off match. It's a cup. It's not in the Prem. But it does also come off the back of the Carabao Cup. So I don't think it means, oh my God, you know, that's it, they're going to win the league or anything like that. But I do think you have to look at form. We look at form in terms of what Arsenal's doing. You can't then ignore it when you go to City. What they're doing in the cups will feed into the mentality, it will feed into the energy, it will feed into the momentum. And we've seen them do it before. When they click, when they do click, you can see it. It's very visible on the pitch. It's very visible in the players. It's very visible. They quite literally go up a level. So while Liverpool were really bad, City were really, really good. And I think if you're Arsenal, you're now going, for goodness sake, we have to play them when they appear to now be hitting form. Can we not play them maybe a month ago when they were still floundering? And sometimes that's what makes the difference. It's the timing of when the matches happen that can matter. Sachin says, it's funny how people, including me, thought City would be bad for Cherky, but Liverpool have ruined Wirtz completely. And look, sometimes you can't predict it, because I thought that Eze would go to Arsenal and be sensational because he was such a good player, but actually it was Semenyo that went to City and was fantastic. And the thing is, Arsenal are starting to find their feet. With Eze is starting to get involved. He's improving now, but he didn't hit the ground running in the way I thought he would. I thought Eze would hit the ground in the way Semenyo did. He didn't. Sometimes you just can't call it. Sometimes you don't know until it happens. And that's what I mean when I talk about managers and transfers and different things. You can make an educated guess. You can inform yourself. You can have an opinion that's based on facts. But sometimes life is unpredictable. And almost always football is unpredictable. And we know this. So you can predict all you want, but all of us are wrong sometimes. And the thing is, that's good. Because do you see, if it was all predictable all the time and we always knew what was happening, honestly, we would just be bored out of our brains. We would be bored out of our brains. We wouldn't enjoy it anymore at all. But poor Jenny, our Liverpool Jenny, says the club is broken. That's all I've got. The players have zero mentality. The manager has lost the dressing room and the board seem to have checked out. There's nothing more to say. And I just want to give Jenny a virtual hug, bless her, because and this is another thing. So like me in Ireland, obviously my time is the same as it is in England. So I don't have to get up at a special time to watch these matches. But like Jenny had to get up today at 4 a.m. 4 a.m. this woman had to get up to watch her team do that. Honestly, I would be done. I'd be divorcing them. We would be breaking up because that is ridiculous. Jenny just adds little addendum and says, with Klopp, our DNA was fight. That is gone. And I suppose, again, as a United fan, I can relate to that. We've seen that. We've gone through that phase where our players are not fighting, they're not trying, they couldn't be bothered. They're waltzing about the pitch. It's just 4:30 a.m. Honestly, I would be so mad. Do you know how many angry emails the club would receive from me if I was getting up at 4:30 a.m. to watch that nonsense? Really and truly, all the angry emails. They wouldn't care, but it would make me feel better. But I do think that's hard. And I could see how angry and frustrated Slot was on the sideline. I could see he wanted more. But he clearly doesn't know how to get it. The combination doesn't work. And sometimes it's not about bad players, bad manager. Sometimes it's good players, good manager, and it's a bad combination. When you add in maybe not as good a manager as it could be, and maybe an underperforming team, or some underperforming players, it just exacerbates the problem. It seems that it's not a good match. Because the minute he tried to implement what he wanted to do and moved away from what Klopp was doing, the downfall started. Sachin says, if anything, I would blame the sporting director for the mess they are in. Poor squad building and spending has cost them dearly. And Jenny is agreeing with that from Sachin. And that's the thing. See, when multiple cogs aren't working, when multiple parts of the machine aren't working, that's a major problem because you can carry a part. You might even be able to carry 2 parts if you're really good in your other areas. But some of your team is aging out. When you look at Salah and Virgil van Dijk, they're just getting older. Their bodies can't do what they used to do. They're aging out, okay? And then you have kind of a crisis or an unexpected event like what happened with Jota. Obviously, nobody could have predicted. It's incredibly sad and it will impact each person individually. You then have the Trent sort of debacle / crisis. All of those things kind of impact the dressing room in different ways. They'll impact different people in different ways. You're then adding new players and new dynamics into that. You've also then got a new manager who wants to go in a new direction, who sort of now seems to be out of his depth. And you then have the people above that, the board, the sporting directors, the people making the decisions, the purchases, the buying team, whatever you want to call them. When all of those things, one after the other, like dominoes, all start to fall down, it's hard to know which sort of fire to put out first because they're all just setting each other off again. And I think they're in for another really difficult season next season. And the reason I say that is because it isn't a crisis. It's multiple crises, which means you have to solve multiple things. And it's a summer. It's not a year. It's going to take time. And again, speaking from experience, when your club has multiple problems upon problems upon problems, it takes time to solve them. They don't happen all at once. However, if you don't start dealing with it and you just pretend it's not happening, which is what Liverpool seem to be doing at the minute, then it's never going to get better. And that's where you run into a problem. That's where people get frustrated. That's where people get impatient because they're going, what are you doing? Okay, we know there's a problem. We understand at least where some of them have come from, but now we need to rectify the issue. We need to fix the problem. We need to take a step back in the right direction. We need to deal with at least one of these things. And as far as I understand, I don't know how reliable this sort of news is, but it appears to have been sort of announced, not announced, that Slaughter is going to be staying in place for the next season, which could be catastrophic. Really, it could be catastrophic. But if we play devil's advocate, and I don't know this, none of us know this, it's just if we think of the other side. If part of the reason that Liverpool have got like this is instability because you've lost players in various ways, in various sorts of different circumstances, you're now going to lose more very important players. You've had a change in manager, a change in play style, everything's changing. So it's unstable, there's instability. If they keep him, is it possible that the stability of having the same manager while they try and fix some of the other things might be a good thing? Now again, I'm not a Liverpool fan and I know most of them want him out. I'm just throwing it out there. Is it a case of you can't put out all of the fires at once? Do they need some stability in at least one area? And they don't really have a choice in terms of the players because they're going to have to go because of their ages. So the only thing they can control is the manager. And it's the intention is to create a level of stability. Do you know what I mean? Let me see. Lovely Page is here. Yeah, and so I think this, Jenny, is a really good point, and I do think that really seems to bother. When I see Liverpool fans discuss this seems to be a real bone of contention. You guys generally don't back managers in this way. Of all the managers to start backing in this way, it's this guy. And as Jenny says there, if we had only backed Klopp in the same way, things could have been so very different. And that is hard because you can't go back and change it now. But Sachin says, no, I reckon he's gone in the summer. And Andrew said, if he gets smashed by PSG, surely that's it. I don't think, and again, none of us know, we're all guessing, do you know what I mean? I don't think he would be sacked this close to the end of the season. Look at what Spurs went through, trying to get a new manager this close to the end of the season. Now, I know obviously Liverpool aren't in relegation, but they're very much in contention for Champions League spots next season. Upheaval at this point, so close to the end of the season. While what he's doing is not good, while the results are not there, this is very, very, very bad. Destabilising it might not make it better. It might, but it might not make it better. So I think their aim seems to have always been get to the summer. Get to the summer, then deal with it. And then obviously all these reports seem to start coming out that actually he was going to be staying. But as I said, I don't know kind of how reliable they are. You never really know. But what Paige is saying there, start fresh with the new guy in the summer. Don't have him come in at the tail end of this sourness, because then it does. Even if you think in your head you're going to separate it, it does taint it. It does poison the beginning of a new manager's reign. Andrew says Slot needs to go now or there won't be a top 5, which is, that is the other side. It's very hard to know, and because it's so unpredictable and it's so individual, it is very hard to know. Sachin says, I do wonder if they regret not at least bidding for Guehi if they miss Champions League football qualification. 20 mil would have been nothing compared to missing out on the Champions League. And they probably do. There's probably a lot of things they're regretting right now. I suppose you can't change it. So as a Liverpool fan, I suppose what you have to hope is that they're at the very least learning from this. That they're not going to keep making the same mistake. They've made mistakes. Are they learning from them? Are they going to not make them again? That, I suppose, is the least you can hope for as a Liverpool fan. In terms of City, guys, what do we reckon? Because as I said, I think that's probably one of the best I've seen City play in a long time. it does feel like there's been a click. The fact is, though, if Arsenal continue to do what they're doing, it doesn't matter what City do because Arsenal are ahead. Even if City win the game in hand, Arsenal are ahead. So, do we think City looking switched on is enough to actually make a difference? Do we think City is even definitely going to go on and win the FA Cup? Because there's other teams still in it. There's other matches still to be played. Do we think... What did you think of City's performance? Because we know Liverpool were bad. We know Liverpool were in trouble and we know that they have things to do. But what do we think of City? Because City was also in the match today. And while it's easy to blame the losing team for losing, the winner still has to turn up and win. Do you know what I mean? Sachin says, I have said this many months ago, City play the best football in the country and they keep showing us in flashes. I think there will be a twist in the title race. I don't know if I'm convinced there's going to be a twist, but I also kind of wouldn't be shocked. Do you know what I mean? I'm sort of back on the fence again now. Arsenal are in the driver's seat because they have the points. However, I think when City turn it on, they're such a good team. Some of their players are just absolutely fantastic. And actually this season, Pep seems to be playing a bit of a freer way. It's a bit less boring. I don't know if I would go so far as to say I think there'll be a twist. But as I said, I wouldn't be shocked if it happened. I think it's hard to call. Let me see. Sachin says, Arsenal look dreadful even when winning. Hard to have confidence. I don't think anyone will have full confidence in Arsenal, even Arsenal, until they actually win. Until it's done, I don't think anyone will have that confidence. The thing is, whether they're playing bad or good, while they keep getting the points, how they get them doesn't matter. What matters is if they stop getting them because their results catch up with their performances. But if they keep winning, whether it's dreadful or pretty, it won't matter because the points are what matter. Huge is saying with City, it was a Pep issue. He wasn't playing Turkey, and when Bernardo is rested, he is good. Do you know what? Do you know the way there's always players that kind of grind your gears? Will Hughes, at Crystal Palace, cannot have him. Bernardo Silva does my brain in, can't have him. I cannot have him. I really dislike him. Oh, I was like, what? No, you guys are having Paige and Andrew are having a great old chat, and I was about to read out the middle of it, and I was like, that doesn't make sense. And then I realised I was very rudely interrupting a very lovely conversation. It was my bad. It was on me. But guys, it's just a quick match reaction because obviously there's more football on today, but I find it's nice to talk about it when the details are fresh, because by the time we watch another match and then another match later on, you start to forget what happened in the first match. Even if it was like a fantastically good, very exciting match, I forget. I start to, because my brain like deletes this file to make room for the next file. So I wanted to go live, I wanted to have a bit of a chat, and obviously we didn't have our 12 o'clock show because of the football. They just terribly didn't arrange it around my streaming. Ridiculous. But I just wanted to see you guys, say hi, have a bit of a chat, have a bit of a debrief, and then we will hopefully talk again later. What way do the matches work out later, the time? So we've got Arsenal Southampton is at 8 o'clock, and that means 9:30, probably 10. And tomorrow's match, no, do you know what I'll do? I probably won't be live again later today, guys, because we've got the Chelsea Port Vale is 5:15, Southampton Arsenal is 8 o'clock. That won't be over till 10, and that's if there's no extra time and penalties. And you never know, Southampton might do something. And then tomorrow there's only West Ham Leeds. There's nothing happening in the early afternoon. So what I will do is tomorrow at 12, I will do the match reaction for this evening's matches. So I won't be live with you again today. Oh, it's quite sad because we've been so good. We've been like 12-7. We've been on fire with the live streams, but football's back, so it will be tomorrow at 12 when I rejoin you lovely people. Let me see. Sachin is saying Haaland looked lively today. He did, to be fair. Rob is saying can't stand Silva either, Lou. Yeah, he's just one of them players, isn't he? Let me see. Sachin is saying Borough are bottling promotion again. I'm done with this team. Sachin can relate to the bottling. Sachin is having a tough time. To be fair, Sachin, you did tell me that earlier in the season when I was talking about teams getting promoted. You did say to me Borough are not a definite. So 21 XG in the last 5 games and got 2 points in the last 5 games. Ooh, that's rough. What if Arsenal lose? If Arsenal lose, or if Port Vale beat Chelsea, maybe. Do you know what to do, guys? At the minute, I'm planning for it to be 12 o'clock tomorrow, okay? That's what I'm planning for right now, this second. But put your notification bell on. Make sure your notification bell is set to all. Sometimes on YouTube, the default is personalized, and what that means is YouTube decides what to notify you about. If you set them to all, you'll get all your notifications. So set it to all, just in case I take a mad notion this evening. At the minute, I think it'll be tomorrow at 12. But just in case, make sure your notification bell is turned on for me, please. Sachin says, yes, it's a recurrent theme with Middlesbrough cheering for Port Vale and the Saints today. Paige says, if Southampton or Port Vale get something, that will make Paige's weekend. Listen, guys, enjoy the matches for the rest of today. As I said, I will definitely be back tomorrow at 12, if not before. Keep your notification bells on just in case. Do smash a like on the video if you have not done so already. Thank you very, very much for being here and for waiting on me while I thought I was live, but in fact I was not. I will talk to you all very soon, guys. Have a lovely rest of your day.